Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. Let's wait maybe 2 minutes and then we can start. All right, let's start. Thank you guys for joining. The session's called Making the Most Out of the Career Fair. My name is Mariam and I lead counseling in the CSO office. Let's start by getting to know our audience. So how many people, if you could just raise your hands, I won't interrogate or ask questions, but how many people have attended a career fair in the past? Yeah. Okay, good. And how many people out of the ones who've attended the fair in the past have found it, I don't know, overwhelming or difficult to navigate or, stressful? Yeah. So I was a graduate from NUMS. I graduated in econ years ago, and I found it super, super overwhelming at the time. And I think what we're trying to do this year is make it as student friendly as possible, and that's what this workshop will also aim to do. We'll try to give you some really concrete tips. Another thing, I don't know how many of you have read or seen the guide that we shared a couple of days ago, I think, the Making the Most Out of the Fair guide. One person? Guys, please check your emails. I'm not gonna. So I think the guide has a lot of tips, and I'll cover some of them in this session. We'll share the link with you afterwards so you can read the rest of them. And then there's some, bonus things that we'll have. So in addition to this workshop, you should be looking at that main guide. It covers, general tips. It covers tips for different populations, whether you're a first-year student, whether you're a PhD student, whether you're an alumni. There's also linked within that guide some general do's and don'ts, and there's a checklist to make sort of preparing for the event simpler. And then in addition to that, we'll also, in addition to this workshop as well, we'll be having a range of sort of walk-in sessions next week at COCA at different schools. So if you have any, additional questions and everything, you can also come to us then. We will be sharing a list of companies and, roles that they're offering sometime tomorrow morning. So some cancellations, some new signups are happening today, but all of that's going to get cleared by the end of the day. So we'll share a sheet with you tomorrow. From that sheet, you can filter out the relevant organizations for you, and I'll get into a little bit about how to decide that. So today we're gonna have some, general introduction about what is the career fair, what can you get out of it. We'll cover some big picture tips, and there's a range of, very specific tips or, concrete tools we wanted to give you to help you manage some of the key features of the event. So I think the biggest thing we really want to push is that the career fair is relevant for everyone. So often people think that only if you're a senior student and senior undergraduate student, you need to attend the fair. But there's something there for everybody, and I'll get into the stats a bit as well. But for first year students, the goal is to explore. First year students or anybody, honestly, if you're unsure about what career path you want to pursue, then you have this opportunity to have is always around 200 and plus organizations, and that means around 400, 500 industry representatives coming to the fair. So it's an opportunity to ask questions, explore, learn about different roles. How does a content writing role in the tech sector vary from a content writing role in the in the consultancy sector? So it's just an opportunity to learn what are the skills that I need to develop if I want to enter XYZ career. So it's just help you decide what's the work environment like. All these factors you should start considering in your first year, because then your sophomore and junior years when you start preparing your application materials, and then senior years when you should be applying. So ideally in your first year, you should be using the career fair as an opportunity to explore. Sophomore and junior years, continuing that exploration, but also looking for internships. Seniors, obviously, job search. For master students, there's a lot of opportunities for more experienced candidates. So the job search is relevant there. For PhD students, in addition to finding out what are the roles available for experienced people, how do I leverage my PhD degree? It also is an opportunity for developing academic partnerships. This is actually relevant for all populations. If you're doing an SProj, if you're doing, an academic project, you can partner with an organization rep, and you can make the most out of that project. Some of your final projects in any of your courses would gain so much value for your resume as well if you work with on them in partnership with industry. And then for alumni, it's for job search. So the goal is that it's an opportunity overall for everybody to do some market research, to learn how do I stand out in whatever field you're thinking about, network with professionals. There's a lot of alumni representatives that come back and guide students on how they enter different career paths, and it's an opportunity to network with them. You practice your professional communication everybody says in a slightly less formal setting it is. It's a bit overwhelming, but at least you have the chance to practice with a range of people. You learn how do you communicate, how do the professionals communicate with you. You can mirror that language. You can secure academic opportunities, you can secure job opportunities. So going into a little bit more closely, there are 700 plus in this current fair. There's around 700 and more entry-level positions, 700 and more lateral positions for more experienced individuals. There's 450 plus MTO, GTO programs, and there's 600 plus internships. So even though it's 200 organizations that are coming, 230 odd organizations that are coming, they have many organizations have multiple opportunities, many different roles. So there's just so much information that you can gather. There's so many ways you can, just strengthen your application materials, and just so much you can do out of this opportunity. So I really encourage go prepared. I think there's so many students who have come back and said that we secured a job because of the career fair. And career fair there's a range of other recruitment activities I'll get into as well later. But it's a great opportunity if you approach it right and you prepare in advance, which you guys are doing. So I think let's start with some very big picture tips. So everybody knows you should research and prepare beforehand. I think some sort of general guidance is that you should be focusing on functional roles, not sectors. So sectors are industries essentially, so the tech industry, the consultancy industry, but functional roles are marketing, HR. HR is relevant in functional roles are relevant across industries. So you could be an HR professional in agriculture, you can be an HR professional in FMCG. But that's what you should be focusing on. What role do I want to do? Not that I want to, I mean, you can have like sector preferences, but it's easier to shift across sectors. It's harder to shift across functional roles. If that's a bit confusing, you can meet with us and we can help you think through it. But I think of course, you can ask questions after the session too, but focus on functional roles, and that's what we're going to be advertising in all of our materials as well. So you'll know which roles organizations are marketing. Review the organizations beforehand. So we're hopefully going to be launching a website by the end of this week, which will help you filter organizations according to your academic program, according to whether you're a student or an alumni, whether you're whatever role, sector, any other data we have in the company, you'll be able to filter through it. We'll also email you a list, and you can also meet with us, and we can think through what are the right organizations for you. So if you look at these resources, you'll probably find if you want to enter the the finance sector, finance roles, there'll be 400 opportunities, or 400, sorry, there might be like 60 organizations that are coming. So you should shortlist those based on a range of factors that are relevant to you. That could be location, that could be the company itself, what are the projects that different companies are working on that you're interested in, or whatever it's relevant to you, and we can help you think through what are the shortlisting factors you should be thinking about. Once you shortlisted your companies, you should research them, go prepared, check out their websites, their social media pages, find out what job openings they currently have, find out what projects they're working on so that you have an idea about what to talk to them about, and things like that. Current projects are also a way of shortlisting. And then research whatever industry trends you can research beforehand, so that when you go to them, you're finding out value-added information. There's no point meeting them and asking them questions that you can find information on online. So do as much preparation as you can. It might sound crazy, but it's like maybe 2 hours of work. It's nothing really intense. It's just shortlisting, and then we can obviously help you through it. So try to do as much prep as you can. Once you've done your prep, or alongside that, resume building is really important. I don't know how many people have sent their resume for review to the CSO team. I think we circulated a form a while back, and lots of people did respond, and that's really great. We'll be pushing your resumes to other recruiters throughout the year as well. So if you haven't sent in your resume to be added to the directory, send it to us. We'll help you review it. We'll help you make sure that you're able to tailor it according to the role, to the organization. We can help you think through that. But also just generally that's what you should be doing when you're thinking about your resume. When you go to the fair, if you've decided on 2-3 roles, print out copies for each of those roles so that you can give them a tailored version that can help you stand out. Other ways to stand out is quantifying your experiences, making sure you have really strong, impactful professional phrasing. You're appropriately foregrounding the right experiences to catch the recruiter, and then make sure your basics are covered, grammar, formatting. So I think I won't go into too much detail about resume building. We have a resume guidebook. We have a template. I think there was a resume 101 workshop that we did a while back as well. So all that data is there, and obviously you can meet with us and we can help you think through your resume. But that's another key thing you should be thinking about before the fair. LinkedIn profile is another thing. Just keep it updated. It doesn't take that much effort to develop. There's a tip sheet for it as well. You make sure you have a professional photo, an attractive headline. You've got your the About Me page framed in a really impactful way, a compelling summary. Why do we have to work on our LinkedIn profile? First of all, it's so easy. It takes, again, an hour. These words sound intense, but it's not that much of a, it's not as scary as it sounds. It's just a very quick activity, and you might connect with people. So when you're going to the fair, you'll be getting business cards. We'll get into a little bit about networking as well. You're meeting so many industry representatives. You may get opportunities to follow them on LinkedIn, or get them to follow you back after the event is over. Get their names, follow them. And when they follow you back, if you have a good LinkedIn profile, it makes you stand out. So it's a very basic way of sort of displaying your professional profile, because they may not have your resume handy all the time, but your LinkedIn profile is easy, click away. Now, the big scary question, scary topic I feel I've been hearing a lot these past couple of weeks is elevator pitch. What is an elevator pitch, and how do you make it, and all of that. So I think I'll pause here, and I want to ask again, show of hands, how many people know what an elevator pitch is? Yeah. How many people feel comfortable with elevator pitches? It is a bit of an overwhelming, task, but that's only if you, I think a lot of people overthink it. Essentially, it's just a quick introduction about yourself. Uh, there's no, it's to create a strong impression. It's to give a sort of a value proposition to the person you're talking to. When you're going around the classroom and when you're asked to introduce yourself, that's essentially an elevator pitch as well. In a professional context, it's just a way of communicating to a recruiter or a peer or an alumni, whoever you're interacting with, telling them uh, telling them a little bit about who you are. There should be like a value statement about, what makes you stand out, what are you passionate about, something that's a bit personal about, or, unique about yourself that, they may remember afterwards. A goal about what you're hoping to achieve from this conversation, and then some closing that explains the advice or whatever you're wanting to get out of the representative. I think one of the really important things to remember is that it's hard to have like it's hard for us to give you a script, because the script or the way you present your elevator pitch will vary depending on whether you're somebody who has no professional experiences or somebody who has many professional experiences, whether you're early in your career, later on in your career. Are you using this pitch as a way to introduce yourself so you can get some general information, or is it because you're wanting to sort of stand out for a job? Are you wanting to secure funding? There's a range of different reasons, but the general structure, a quick framework we can give is this. Just going back, some key features is that you have to tailor it, and this is again why it's hard to give like a template. You have to tailor it according to your audience. And that means one, even beyond the career fair, like whether you're speaking to somebody in an interview, whether you're speaking to somebody at a networking session, but at the career fair as well, whether you're speaking to somebody who is an HR professional versus somebody who is an alumni who's more senior, or somebody who's an alumni but less senior. So it varies depending on who you speak with, and we can help you think through it. I'll get into a little bit about how to use AI to help you develop it as well. But just remember that it's unique. So you can have a general template, but you'll have to tailor it the same way you have to tailor your resume. But essentially, it's just a quick introduction. Don't get scared by the 30, 60 seconds. It's like maybe 3-4 lines about yourself. The key thing that you should try is you should have a hook. So I think a lot of people give a very general, this is my major, these are the couple of things I've done. And this is, can you tell me about, what job opportunities there are? But there are ways of making it more engaging. So for example, a poor pitch is just saying, hi, I'm whatever. I'm a business student and want to get a job. Good job. I've done some internships and I'm interested in finance. Can you help me? So this is poor because it's vague. There's no unique aspect. There's nothing they're going to remember you by. And then there's not much engagement. Can you help me? Help you with what? So it's a poor invite to conversation. There's a way to use AI to make your pitch better. So you can use a prompt in whatever platform you're comfortable with. You can ask, help me craft an elevator pitch as a final year business student. You could write as a first year student, whatever, interested in. This is basically giving the same summary that you were using in the previous pitch. So just like, help me make an elevator pitch. This is a bit of a background about myself. And it crafts a bit of a stronger sentence. So it's got more detail, the sort of specializations that the person is interested in, what you're hoping to get out of this conversation. I'm excited to bring this experience to a dynamic team. So it indicates that the person is interested in working. Still, it lacks personalization and a clear hook. So in order to make it stronger, you make a pitch yourself, including key information about. So in the previous post, in the prompt, there was some basic information given. But if you use more detailed information, give the AI output from before, like keep refining it with AI. Ask it, can you make it more engaging? Can you include a hook? Can you end it with a question for further conversation? This is even this is a bit vague. You could end it with, you could say, end it with, I want to ask, the point of me pitching this, the point of me developing this elevator pitch is because I want to ask them about industry trends, or I want to ask them what kind of job opportunities would be relevant for me, or I want to whatever you're hoping to get out of the conversation. You mentioned that. Even asking for a hook is like do some self-reflection and think, what is it that makes me stand out? We can help you think through that. And then it gives you a more detailed answer, and that's better. It helps the person who you're speaking to get a good, in-depth understanding of who you are in a quick, like 3-4 lines. This is still AI generated, so it has to be humanized. It's good, but it's not great. It's hard to speak like this, with people, because it sounds very robotic. So you'll have to keep customizing it, keep practicing it. How does it flow? And you have to adjust the hook and the question according to your need. But AI can just help you figure out how to structure, how to, if you have like a lot of information, it can help you make it more concise. If you feel like you don't have enough information, it can give you ideas about what to add. It's a tool. So I think this is the only reason I encourage using AI for this is because it helps you. I think it's better than giving you guys a script, because I can give you like the general guidance I gave here, that this is a quick framework for it. But again, it's gonna be different according to, if you're speaking to an alumni, for example, you might want to tell them a little bit more about your degree. So instead of saying business student, you might say I'm, an ACF major or whatever, or you might say that I've loved XYZ courses, or I loved working with, this professor or something, to build a relationship with the person. You might end with like asking them about, how did you get into this industry? How did you get into this role? How did you leverage your experiences? So all of it is going to vary, but you should have a strong understanding of what your, a summary of what you've done so far and what makes you stand out. And that's what you have to use in your pitch. I can pause here if anyone has any questions, because I know it's a big hot topic. But if there are no questions, I can continue. I'll pause for just a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, if anyone has any worries about elevator pitch. Yes, I can't see whose hands are raised and who's not. Oh, yes. Arva? Arva, did you have a question? Ahmed? Anybody? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Zaki, you want to tell me your question?
Yeah, I unmute myself for a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. Wonderful session so far. I just wanted to ask, it's also a bit of a vague question, but you know how you just said while you were reading this one out, कि ये भी थोड़ा सा मतलब vague है, right? The elevator pitch in itself, because again, it's generated by AI, it's a bit more robotic. So the question at the end, which is like about के what are मतलब exciting trends in the finance industry, like it doesn't, you know how it doesn't really sound like a question that you would ask in a normal
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to ask. Could you could you like give
That-
a few more questions like this, like just one or two questions pointers that might be better suited to a normal conversation on a career fair?
Yeah. So I think that's what I mean about humanizing it. So AI is extracting from US and whatever generic guides are online. For you guys, the questions to ask, which I guess might actually be my next slide, is, opportunities for growth. I'll quickly go over it and then I'll give some specific questions, skills and qualifications that you need to advance in whatever roles or opportunities the organization has, a little bit about their culture and values, application tips, and then industry insights. I've unbolded because I feel a lot of it. I mean, it's hard for an HR person or for whoever is there, unless they're very senior, to tell you about trends, but they can tell you about challenges, maybe. But all of this, I feel, is hard to have in the short time that you have at the fair. So I think you should focus on these. And I think, like, for each of these, I think for things like for opportunities for growth, the question could be that I'm really passionate about working, of joining of the MTO program that you guys have. If I succeed and I enter this role, what are the ways that I can advance? What are the things that I can do to make myself stand out as an employee so I can progress? Or you can ask, like, what are the progression opportunities if somebody joins the MTO program? What are the ways that I can progress further in the organization? You can ask about the skills that are needed to stand out, that you can use this opportunity to be like, could you have a quick look at my resume and tell me if there's any skill I need to work on to be more to stand out for this particular role or for these 2-3 roles that I'm thinking about? Do you feel there are any certifications I should be doing to stand out? Whatever. Company culture and values, people of is also a little bit generic, but for you guys, you're entering, internships or work opportunities, and you're just one of the key factors. And a lot of people who graduate and enter careers, you can have this sort of disillusionment with what the work environment is like. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm working like 10 hours. I had no idea this was what the environment was going to be like. Other people are like, oh my God, I have nothing to do. Like, I have like one task every day and I'm feeling like I'm not being, I'm not reaching my potential. This is an opportunity to find out. Ask them, what is the work environment like? What if for an entry level position, what is the kind of work that a person would be doing? What's the how many women are working in your organization? Things like that. What is the organizational structure? If for an entry level position, or for whatever position you're applying for, who would be the supervisor? What's the kind of relationship we could have with the leadership? These are kind of like, I mean, these are a lot of questions, and you probably won't be able to cover all of them. But you'll have to decide according to your priorities, where you are in your career, which questions to focus on. You might also want to divide the questions across organizations. So you might decide that, these 2 organizations, I really need to get application tips because it's really competitive. This company is not that known, but I think I'd like to know about their work environment. And for skills, I think you should ask everybody, because that's just a good market research. But yeah, so I think these are the kind of things you should end your elevator pitch with if at the career fair. If you want to do academic partnerships, that's a whole other game, and we can help you think through it. But for jobs and internships, these are the kind of questions you should be asking at the end. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, of course it does. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So I'll move on. The other thing which you get from the elevator pitch, and just generally that's really important to do at the fair, is to network. Again, it's a dramatic word, and often people don't understand what exactly it means. But it just means speaking with industry professionals, getting their business cards, getting their emails or whatever, finding out their name so that you can follow them on LinkedIn. In the conversation, being like, I really enjoyed this conversation. I'd love to follow you on LinkedIn. What's your, can I send you a request afterwards? There's just different ways of, and we'll share a networking guide with you as well in the next coming few days to help you think through through, the ways to navigate such conversations, because we don't have time to cover that in this session. But it's just connecting with people, because these connections, the conversations, the people, email addresses that you get are places where you could, push your resume, are places where people who you might like. A lot of people post jobs on LinkedIn, on their LinkedIn. They post the jobs like on their, what's the word for it? But they don't upload the job from the organization. They post it on their personal network. So if you're following them, you get access to these opportunities. You follow the right people, you get the right things on your feed. There's just a lot of really powerful ways of, there's a lot of far-reaching effects of just getting people's contact information, or, the business cards are a way of people say, I've sent them, I applied for this job, but I have no idea if they received it, if I've moved forward or not, and I haven't got a rejection email. If you have their business card, you might be able to contact them. So, it's just really important to network. The way to get your foot through the door to increase the chances of them wanting to connect with you, because remember that they're interacting with hundreds of students today, like on that day, but also just in the next couple of weeks, the weeks before, they're attending. Usually, a lot of them are attending fairs at different universities. So it's very overwhelming for them as well. So make it as easy as you can. Show that you've done your homework. Make yourself stand out. Show that you're invested in having this relationship. Make a targeted resume so that they can be motivated to keep it. If they have a generic resume, or if they it shows that you again invested in building this relationship. Take notes after the conversation, because you're going to be interacting with a lot of people. You might find out some really cool things. And in the moment you're like, oh, there's no way I could forget this, and at the end of the day you're going to be tired, and you may lose some of the information that you've learned. So just keep taking notes immediately after conversations as much as you can. I don't know if I covered it in this slide, but have a notes app, have a notebook, whatever it is that's handy to do this. Collect business cards. A lot of the organizations are going to be distributing them, so make sure that you collect it. Put it in when you enter the fair, you're going to get a welcome pack. So it's a folder. Put it in that, or bring a folder yourself. Don't overlook peers. I don't know, I think I know it can feel awkward to interact with other attendees who you might not be friends with, but it's a professional setting, and I feel everybody's some degree of overwhelmed or some degree of stressed. So I think people would appreciate interacting with fellow students. If you're waiting in line, talk to them. Say that I don't know. Have you checked out that organization? By the way, I know the stall is really crowded, and I haven't had the chance, but I wanted to see if you have, because they could share insights about whatever they've learned. Peers also, and I say this as somebody who's graduated, a lot of your friends are the people who become part of your professional network, and then they connect you with other people, and it's just it's really great. So do try to engage with other attendees in a way that, we can meet, and we can help you think through, how do I reach out, how do I talk to these strangers who are my fellow students, but I guess in a similar way that you would talk to people in your class. Follow up promptly. So if you have interacted with somebody on the 8th, try to reach out on 9th, 10th. 8th is a Saturday, so if you send them an email on Sunday night, Monday, whatever, hopefully they'll read it Monday morning. 24 to 48 hours is a recommendation, especially if you're going to send a LinkedIn request, because after that they're going to forget. Very big special focus on networking with alumni reps. So much information they can share with you on how did they leverage their degree, their alums experiences, maybe get some reality checks about what does the market think about alums graduates now. Trends keep changing. Do we still have an edge or not? If we don't, then what do we have to do to stand out? If an alumni rep is there, that means the organization likely has some preference of hiring alum students. So you can find out, how do I make sure that I get an in, things like that. So it's just really important to network with everybody, but also especially alumni. Yes, organized. Very basic tips. Prioritize list of organizations that you want to go to. Prioritize means have out of maybe, you can have as many organizations in the list as you want, but have 5, 6 that you're really, really invested in going and meeting. And then, 10 or so that you really want to meet, and then the rest which are sort of like wish list, because I mean it's a long day. There's a whole day, and if a lot of people historically, the rush hour is in the 12 to 4 p.m. range. Come early, so come at 10 o'clock. It'll be less crowded. You'll have, you'll have a chance to interact with organizations for a bit longer because it'll be less crowded. And you'll be able to reach your target organizations as well. Essential materials are copies of your resumes. Keep a notebook, phone app, like I said, for note taking, a folder to store your brochures, the business cards. I will also say, like, have your resumes, your targeted resumes in your phone. So some companies might have a QR code. They'll ask you to add your resume to a form that they might have. We don't know, because now the trends are changing. Let's have a digital copy handy with you. Familiarize yourself with the layout. So we'll be sharing the layout tomorrow as well. After you've made your list, plan a route. So you'll see, like, okay, if I enter, this is the organization I should go to first, and how do I can actually, and if I can, I'll screen share the layout with you as well, so you can get a sense of what does the setup look like, and then you'll get access to the final layout tomorrow. Track your interactions. So jot down key details, make sure you don't lose any of the information. Schedule breaks, regroup, review your notes, hydrate, and re-strategize if needed. Yeah. Managing crowds is, I think, inevitable. So like I said, try to arrive early. A lot of people say to visit. The one strategy is to visit your top choice and prioritize that. Another strategy is to use the downtime strategically. So if your priority booth is crowded, go to another stall. Whichever you choose depends on the situation. So if the day is like close to an end and your top choice hasn't been met yet, then obviously prioritize them. You just have to see depending on the day. Use the time to review your notes, be patient and respectful. Everybody wants to meet organization reps, so try to not take up too much time so that your peers can also interact. Listen to, if somebody is in front of you or two people are in front of you and they're talking to organizations, listen to the conversation so that you can learn. Engage with other attendees in the line while you're waiting, and just stay flexible. Crowds can be overwhelming. Take a break. There'll be plenty of volunteers and staff around. They can also help you navigate the event if it gets too intense for you. I think somebody is Aisha, Yusra, can you guys mute whoever is unmuted? Yeah. After the event, follow up and connect. Like I said, within 48 hours is the ideal. Send personalized thank you emails to the recruiters who you got the contact information from. Attach your resume to any materials, any email or whatever communication you have. And then start preparing for interviews. So use the information you've gathered from the fair to build your application materials. If you've got resume feedback, start working on that. Sign up for mock interviews. I think actually you'll probably have to sign up before the fair, because I feel the deadline might be coming up, but like just search up your emails right now and for mock interviews and sign up. You can do mock interviews for multiple roles, and it's just so important regardless of what stage you're at, whether you're a senior, whether you're a junior. These mock interviews are also conducted with industry experts. So beyond the career fair, after the career fair, you should also keep a lookout for recruitment drives. So the career fair is basically the career fair is like broad, lots of industries, lots of organizations. There's booths and stalls you can explore. There's like a lot of diversity. Recruitment drives are where specific companies come for. I don't know if people have already attended drives so far. They're happening these days, but they're focused sessions on one organization, advertising either one particular role or multiple roles, giving you specialized tips, and it's another opportunity for getting question and answers. It's also, some of the recruitment drives are hiring cycles. So there's interviews, there's an assessment center. So keep a lookout for that. recruitment drives vary. So like I said, assessment centers, there could be coffee chats, there could be like a workshop. They happen usually in the February to May or April range, but like they've already started now. Usually happen after 6:30. There's a registration you have to do. Keep a lookout for our bi-weekly announcements. I would also really strongly encourage everybody to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, because on Facebook we post job opportunities, and on Instagram we're posting event details and bite-sized tips. We really want to get your feedback on things, so we're using that as a platform to get input. So I think my team will send in the chat the social media platforms. So do check those out. There's a bunch of benefits of attending recruitment drives similar to the career fair. So you get to interact with company leadership, you get to network, you get to access job opportunities and get insider tips, and you get to participate in the assessment and interview cycle. So you might get a job through these drives. I'm gonna pause now. I've been talking for a long time. Any questions, any worries? We can get into the Q&A now. Let me show my face so that I'm not scary. Anam.
Assalamualaikum. A really interesting session. I honestly want to thank you for this. I did have a question though. So we received a mail from about the career fair, and we were allotted some interviews. I just wanted to clarify, those are mock because they're with proper organizations. Are those mock interviews or are those actual interviews? And either way, we do prepare for them properly, right?
Yes. So some of the interviews, depending on the organization, we can't guarantee that yet because we have to, reach out to the mentors and match. But some of the interviews might be real interviews. We'll let you know in advance. Some of the people that you interview are already part of the hiring process. So even if they don't have a formal job, if they're impressed by you, they might reach out and hire you. We've communicated this to the mentors as well. So I think either there'll be a formal opportunity, there might be an informal opportunity, and even if there isn't, it's really important to practice and think of it as a real interview, because if they don't reach out now, they could reach out later. It's a networking opportunity. So yeah. Interviews that happen as part of the recruitment drive are a whole other thing. That's like an interview center. Yeah.
That I understand. So basically, the mail that we received, it didn't really specify if it was a mock interview or a real one. That's the only reason why I was a little confused. But thanks a lot for all the tips. We'll definitely be keeping those in mind. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Happy to hear it. Any other questions? We're good? We'll be having stalls, booths set up next week. Monday, I think, is Khoka, and then other days, I think there's we'll share the schedule hopefully in the next couple of days. So we'll be there all day. If you want to go through companies list together, if you want to look at the venue layout together, or any other, you want to work on your elevator pits, whatever you want to do. So we'll be at almost every school. And I think anything else we have to share, team? I don't think so. Right, Aisha, Yusra? Yeah. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Okay, we have a question from Mona.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not a graduate from LUMS, but I'm working as an RA in LUMS. So I really wanted help in like reviewing my resume and especially interviewing skills. So I wanted to ask what kind of help I can get from you guys, because the mock interviews and recruitment drives are student specific. So can I get some help?
Yeah, you can sign up for resume review, coming to the fair, interviews as well.
Okay, so the link shared here asks for the campus ID. Should I just add my employee ID?
I think you might have to send an email, just so that we know that you're not a student, so that we can make sure that we can add your employee ID. But I guess you can just mention that it's your employee ID.
Sorry to cut in, Mariam, but the campus ID, we usually use it to send out an email. So maybe she can write her email ID with it instead of the campus ID, so that we can send her out an email.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. So just
Okay.
add your the beginning of your email ID.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I will also sign up and also send a mail on CSO email. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you guys. We hope to see you at the event and also before, if at the booths that we're gonna set up. Do follow us on social media. We're revamping our social media presence and we need the support, please.